morning. It's Alan Sloan here, just joining John Heggie in the commentary box that we have here at Braehead on this very cold, frosty west of Scotland morning. Very heavy frost last night, and you've joined us for the quarter-final tie, the All-Swiss affair between Michelle Jaggi's rink from Bern and Silvana Tirinzoni, two of the very experienced Swiss curlers that are on the Champions Tour. Have played each other many times, I'm sure. Close friends, very close rivals. And the first end going probably to the established pattern of feeling their way into the ice in the morning, keeping it clear, not trying anything too complicated, see how the ice is running, how much draw we've had. It's been good this weekend. We've had about a very consistent four-foot draw. You can see ice being taken for the shot at the edge of the outer edge of the 8-foot, the white 8-foot. And the Jaggi rink wearing very smart blue, and Silvana Tirinzoni's Swiss team in a very fetching and, at this time of the morning, a very bright shade of red, but it certainly makes both teams very easy to distinguish out on the ice. And there that draw is curling, probably over curled. We were looking at a 4-foot draw, it's probably nearer 5-foot, so nice swingy ice.
It's been helpful to see the Tirinzoni side in red this morning.
Well,
red tops, red stones.
Yeah, red tops, red stones, and maybe one or two red eyes after last night's dinner and the organising committee, but a very friendly evening. So there we are, Silvana Tirinzoni stone, just removing that Jaggi counter, first end blanked, and Tirinzoni retaining the hammer for the second end.
So we're looking at the winners of Section D this morning against the runners-up in Section C. So the teams haven't played each other yet in this competition.
Yes, that's right, John. We actually, last night's games, the last of the round-robin games, all the games counted. We had all sorts of permutations, and Michelle Jaggi was playing Anna Hasselberg of Sweden in her last game last night, and they were tied in points going into that match, and a very close-fought encounter that ended up with Anna Hasselberg taking the last end to win 7-5. So obviously both teams enjoying this ice, adjusting well to it, a very high quality match. Silvana Tirinzoni, on the other hand, finished up with 10 points in her section, having an interesting last match against Nina Roth, our USA national champions who are here. And Nina was hoping to beat Silvana. Silvana had won all her games up until then, and that ended up a 5-all peel. So again, down to the last stone last night after 2 full days of curling. So the Tirinzoni rink putting up their corner guard with Jaggi have already put their stone as near to the button as they can, and Michelle changing her mind, going on to the in-turn. Be looking to put a guard possibly onto the centre line, cover that stone. Must say I've been very impressed with the ice this weekend here at Braehead. It's been absolutely perfect, and we're looking at very consistent 4.5, 5 foot draw across all 6 of the sheets, and even more encouraging has been the reaction of the players, who have complimented the organisers and the ice staff on the quality of the ice, and one or two of the Swiss even saying it's the best ice that they have ever played on. But whether that was a wee bit of flattery or well meant, well, we'll take it as well meant. But the staff here have done a tremendous job producing real quality ice. So the attempted guard in place by Jaggi, and Tirinzoni rink looking to remove this, keep it open, maybe try and get a raised takeout, and just tickles it, but not. Maybe another half-inch of ice might have done that, but still the red Tirinzoni stone. Sorry, the red Jaggi stone is still lying there. So Jaggi removing the
I think that front red stone's close enough to the front of the house that if it gets taken away in the nose, the shooter would be out of the rings.
It looks that way, John. Yep, it's just a reverse biter, as we would say. It's so here we go. Tirinzoni looking to take the front stone, hopefully remove the counter. Sweeping hard. They've certainly got an angle on it. Whether it jams on the nose, no, perfectly played. Raised takeout. So the 2 red Jaggi stones disappear, and I think it's just biting, John. Looks as if it's hanging on there, but Michelle Jaggi doesn't like it, so indicating that a tap back and maybe a little roll over to the side to take the stones onto a new bit of ice. So it looks a nice gentle hack to barrier weight. Takes out the yellow Tirinzoni stone, but just too fine an angle, rolls out herself, touches the barrier, so no stone in play apart from that one short Tirinzoni guard. So Tirinzoni, having blanked the first end, has retained the hammer, and we'll be looking here to kickstart her scoring with a 2. But very few stones in play, just an attempted draw behind that one solitary guard, taking it right to the back of the 12 foot, and unfortunately just running on too far. Not counting, but still in play. So Michelle Jaggi moving up immediately, wants to remove that guard. It was a TV serial, No Hiding Place or whatever, so She wants to keep this house clear, avoid Sylvana getting into a place that might be awkward for her to reach. So, guard dutifully removed, the shooter rolls out of play. Sylvana indicating, well, let's try again, we'll maybe put a guard in a different place. Try the other side of the house, see if the Jaggi rink would make a mistake and leave them something to come round behind. But the way this is shaping up, John, looks like we might another blank end here.
Yeah, teams just testing each other.
Yep. Maybe it all warms up at 9 o'clock. You know, this is the 8:30 warm up.
At least it's not a 7:30 start this morning.
Well, that's very true. Yeah, Friday was a very long day. The curlers started. The first round was at 7:30 in the morning. With sections A and B, and the last section games in sections C and D finished at around 10:30 at night. So a bit of a marathon. However, these are all young, fit lady curlers. I think it takes more of its toll on maybe the ice staff and the organising committee, but here we are. We're coming to the exciting part of the tournament, and the Tirinzoni guard, they are just peeled off by Jaggi. So Sylvana Tirinzoni indicating, okay, let's try and put something in the house this time over at about 3 o'clock, edge of the 8 foot.
So just to keep you up to date, the other quarterfinals we've got on today. We've got Oslan versus Fleming, Yoonjung Kim against Felicher. We've got our feature game, Tirinzoni versus Jaggi, and on sheet 7, Hasselberg versus Siderova. Hasselberg being an ex-champion, Alan.
That's correct, yes. Anna hasn't been over recently in the last couple of years, but the one time she has been here, she certainly proved she was an excellent curler and won the championship in 2011 it was, and in fact she's got the same rink over this year, so maybe that's a portent. They played very well in the section games. I was very impressed with their attitude, their confidence. Seemed to be riding very high, and they'd adapted very well to the ice here. So that to be
four games, 4 wins. Pretty
four
good record.
games, 4 games, 4 wins. You can't do much better than that. And I'm just trying to see what the score is. That, of course, she's playing Anna Sidorova, who is a very experienced campaigner, a very experienced rink. Ex-European champions 2 years ago, and also 4th in the last Olympic Games at Sochi. So again, a tremendous quality match, and Anna Sidorova having taken, I think, a single in the first end against Anna Hasselberg. So, but that's no indication of how that one's going to go. However, meanwhile, back in our Michelle Jaggi, Sylvana Tirinzoni all-Swiss match, and there's no stones in play. The girls just having a precautionary sweep coming up the lines, a bit early in the day to be thinking there might be some dust or a bit of cotton come off one of their very bright colourful jackets, but there's obviously something has caught someone's eye. Maybe it's a sort of early morning housework thing, John, is it? It's not a sexist remark. That's, right, here we go.
I was struggling to get in today, not just because of the ice, but all the girls doing the warm-ups in the bar.
Yes, it's quite a sight. We've got all six rinks being used here, so 12 teams of very finely honed athletes and very attractive in their outfits, multicoloured. We've got a wonderful range of colour, but as you say, it was quite hard to pick your pick your route.
Indeed.
Because most of these girls are full-time athletes, either funded through their federation or they have part-time jobs. But curling in the winter is almost their occupation. It's their love, and they are playing for points in this Champions Curling Tour around Europe. Last weekend we had the Bernese Ladies Cup, which Silvana Tirinzoni that we are looking at here. Got one through to the final against fellow Swiss rink, not Michelle Jaggi, but Anita Peitz. And Anita, on that occasion, won through. So Silvana's maybe hoping that this weekend will go one step better. So Michelle Jaggi's stone just coming into almost onto the pot lid, forcing Silvana Tirinzoni to hit, and Silvana will be hoping to roll, keep this end blank, keep the hammer, look to build maybe for a 2 in the third end, but always the danger, of course, that she gets a nose hit and forced to take her one, but I think she'll be looking to roll with this one. So a good strong weight, sweepers just keeping on line, and contact established in the yellow Tirinzoni stone rolling out. So second end blanked, both teams playing a bit defensively at the moment. I must say, John, I've been very impressed. We've got these young Koreans over for the first time, a young team that were over here a year ago practicing at Braehead. And
Well, that's the question we've been asking. Are they the same team?
I think 2 of them are, from what I understand. There was a pool of the young curlers came over from Korea, a development squad that's being built up with the Olympics in mind. And watching them this weekend, they've won all their games, and they have hardly put well, I would say a foot, certainly haven't put a stone in wrong at all. It's got a tremendous display of precision curling and agility and confidence that I wouldn't be at all surprised if we'll be seeing them featuring again later in the day, but at the moment they've taken a single in the second end in their game against the reigning world and European champions, Minia Felcher from Flims in Switzerland, so that again is a tremendously high quality match that promises to give us a real spectacle of curling, but again fairly defensive at the moment. No guards in play in that rink. We're very pleased last night to see in the last series of games that Sissy Osland, who had won all her games, looking very impressive. Sissy, of course, has been at Braehead in previous years. Played third to the legendary Anna Norberg of Sweden, Annette Norberg. So Sissy has been here before, but having won her 5 games is looking to really be on form and enjoying this ice, and she's playing the Hannah Fleming rink of Scotland, the sole Scottish rink out of the 4 that entered here. But Hannah, again, in her last match last night, came through. And after their success at Bern last weekend, I think they won the Consolation Cup rather than the main getting through to the main quarterfinals. So, but Hannah got a very tough task in her hands here against Sissy Osland, and in fact I see that the Osland rink have taken a 3 in the first end, so not a good start for Hannah Fleming, but we'll keep our eye on that one. So meanwhile in Michelle Jaggi and Savannah Tirinzoni, we have the Jaggi guard and the shot on the button, and the Tirinzoni white guard, sort of standard opening gambit in international curling these days.
Now, what you're flicking through, people at home I'm afraid can't see, but it is what I've been using basically as my Bible this weekend. I take it was yourself that put this together? Was some help?
Yes, one of my little labours of love, but having been in touch with all the teams in the build-up to the competition, and of course we asked them who they're bringing, the makeup of their team, and asked them for a little bit of background. We can do our own research obviously through the internet, and how they've got on, what their CV is, because it's very interesting, especially when we get a field of this quality from all over the world, that it just illustrates that, I mean, there are no bad teams here. The results may show that some win more than others, but there are no walkovers, no easy games.
So what we're talking about is the programme.
The programme is what John is referring to, yes, the content of it. So, which I don't know. Have we got it online, John? Or is it? I don't think it's part of the website, is it?
I don't think it is. No,
No,
it's a real
no.
shame.
Yeah,
Well, you had to be here.
You had to, yes, to see the quality of the curling and enjoy the ambience. I must say there's a tremendous spirit amongst all the lady curlers here. Most of them know each other, of course, because they play in many tournaments around Europe, but the camaraderie is tremendous, you know, when you compare it to maybe other sports where there are a bit more aggression maybe has been shown, but the ladies and the men, they respect each other for their abilities and their achievements as well over the years, and of course they will know each other's games. Maybe footballers, everyone compares everything to football, but footballers don't get a chance to play against each other every week, but maybe twice a season. But these girls will be meeting up 6-7 times at various events around the world. So a tremendous camaraderie.
Lovely shot.
Oh, yes. So we've got a bit more attacking curling going on here. Third end have decided, right, okay, let's change the tactic, change the questions that we're trying to ask here. And Michelle Jaggi looking at this yellow stone, just biting the back of the 1 foot, and saying, well, we've got 2 guards, 1 guard out covering the centre line, covering that yellow stone. We've got a stone in the 8 foot. Is there room to draw round our own stone in the 8 foot and face that? If they can freeze onto that yellow stone, then they'd be lying the shot and have the yellow stone as a backdrop. So again, giving about 4 feet of ice. Sweepers are looking quite happy with it, just waiting till it comes down to the hog line, and stone starting now to curl. They look to get a wide enough line, bringing it right in, just giving it enough to take the shot and push the yellow Tirinzoni stone back about 8 inches. Possibly in a position that if Tirinzoni tried to remove that red, she would be in danger of taking her own yellow stone out. So I think she's looking to drive off the guard and the shot at the front of the 8 foot. So the stone certainly got a lot more weight on it. So it takes off the red Jaggi guard, guarding that centre line, but not straight enough, so both stones roll out of play without disturbing the red Jaggi stone in the 8 foot. So Michelle Jaggi without last stone, lying the shot. So Michelle may be indicating, can I just touch that red stone and push the yellow back, and the thrown stone maybe just roll over to the 3 o'clock position on the 8 foot. Look to be a good play. It should be lying 3 shots. Certainly asking Silvana a few questions. She'd have her stone at the front of the 8 foot and possibly covering her own red stone there. So it looks to be a good line. It's got enough weight. Is it going to get a good enough? Yes, perfectly played. Chips the yellow back. Maybe not quite enough contact on it because her own thrown stone disappears out of play. But now the Jaggi rink certainly lying on the button, half guarded. So Silvana again maybe trying to do the raised double here, take out the front red and remove that Jaggi red stone that's lying on the button, and then she would lie 3 shots. So Manuela Siegrist, third player for Silvana Tirinzoni's rink, given the task of trying to drive these 2 red stones out. Almost gets the red stone, but shaves past the other red and unfortunately takes out the back yellow Tirinzoni stone. So Jaggi still lies. We've got a Tirinzoni stone, yellow stone half guarding the front. And I think Michelle's asking for that yellow front counter just to be taken out of the way and possibly replaced by her own red stone, which would give her a guard on the shot on the pot lid. So Michelle Greby's stone coming down, takes out the yellow, takes out the back yellow. So a good result there for the Jaggi rink. Removed all the yellow stones in play, rolls out herself, but leaves her shot lying on the centre. So Silvana Tirinzoni again with last stone, faced with this annoying problem of how do I get a 2 when both her lying shots there were taken out. So possibly we're reverting back to the situation where we might well have another blank end. So Tirinzoni possibly looking to hit and stay with this one, forced Michelle Jaggi to avoid the miss. So there is one short Tirinzoni stone there that if Michelle can take out this Tirinzoni stone, she might be able to roll over and use that cover. Certainly taking just about 3 or 4 inches of ice, which should indicate she's maybe looking for a small rollover to that side. But we always approximate as commentators up here, but these girls are looking at literally millimeters of it where they want to the point of contact when they're removing stones, just to get a precise amount of roll according to the weight they throw. So here we go. Controlled weight coming down. Sweepers are quite happy to stand back in this one, just watch it. Certainly going to remove the Tirinzoni stone, and very well judged. No sweeping whatsoever. Could maybe just have given a wee bit of effort in the house, but almost rolled in behind that sole yellow guard there. However, they've changed the line of the ice, the line of attack, to makes it another question for Silvana Tirinzoni. What happens down here? Is it the same? Where do we want to roll? Do I want to stay in the house and force Michelle Jaggi to try and hit me, to force me to take my one, or do I want to roll out and just play for another blank end? So this time maybe about a foot of ice, which would indicate a controlled weight. So Silvana Tirinzoni's first stone of this third end. Sweeper's coming onto this one fairly quickly, so stone certainly is moving over. Safely past the guard by an inch, and a beautiful rollover, hanging on inside, fully inside the 12 foot, and perfectly hidden from the hack by that other yellow stone acting as a guard. So a real chance here for Silvana, maybe to pick up a 2. Michelle left with this problem. Can I get round and face that stone? Can I get round and remove it? Do I try and drive the front yellow onto the back yellow and force Silvana probably just to throw through? Or can I stay in the house and force Silvana to take me out? Looking at all the options, but I think, what do you think, John? The ice she's taking? I don't think she can get past that front guard.
No, looks like she's going to try and drive that guard
Stone onto the shot. Yeah.
Depends if she throws it with a really big weight. Maybe just stay out there.
I suppose the driven takeout is the percentage shots, but certainly looking from behind, there's maybe half a stone's width there.
Looks like she's just going for the straight takeout there.
Yep. Girl sweeping hard on it. Yep. Safely played past the guard.
Is that another blank end here?
Yeah, looks like it. Not troubling the scorers too much.
We're seeing that if we get into double figures, it could might break my virtual scoreboard, but no chance of that today.
Not certainly not in this game, John. No, or not yet. So these girls don't give up 3s and 4s very easily at all. That's very, very rare.
Most of the other games this morning quite low scoring too.
Yes, yep. Very. I think just emphasising the skill and the accuracy and the capability of all these teams, that they won't give each other an inch, and tactically no one is naive at this level, that they know the type of game if someone's trying to switch it, and they know what kind of response to give. So it's just looking along, I see Hannah Fleming has managed to pull back one shot in their quarter-final against Sissi Osland Swedes, so it's 3-1 for the Swedes in that game. The Koreans, having blanked the first end and taking a single in the second, have now lost a 2 to Binia Swiss world champions in the third end, so Binia team leading that one 2-1 after three ends. And in the other match, Anna Hasselberg and Anna Sidorova, we can't quite see because the skips and the thirds are standing in front of the scoreboard, but we'll bring you up to date on that one in just a minute. So, as predicted, it looks as if we've had a third blank end in this feature match of the two of the top Swiss rinks, Silvana Tirinzoni and Michelle Jaggi. Tirinzoni rink from Aarau, and they have the letters PWC emblazoned on their very natty. However, we're not going to see whether that stands for something in Swiss, German Swiss, or whether it's a commercial indication. We'll let anyone listening work that one out for themselves. So the opening stone thrown by the Michelle Jaggi lead. Finishing up just short of the house in the free guard zone, so electing not to bring that one in. Silvana saying, right, okay, I'll pop out my guard. Might come in useful later, something to draw behind over to the wings.
So we've not got a third end score for the Hasselberg versus Sidorova, but we're Peels going to third end, one apiece.
Yes, so again a fairly cagey opening. No one making any mistakes. I think the girls have real confidence in the quality of ice here at Braehead that we've had this morning, and that is demonstrated. They're picking the right line, they're picking the right spot to put the brush down, and they're confident coming out the hack of the weight they're playing and the result they're going to get, and that's why we're seeing some very accurate, very technically proficient curling and some very tight games.
Must be very comforting for the teams to be able to walk onto the ice and know almost exactly what the stones are going to do. Consistency, absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Whereas we as club curlers, John, we would be spoiled coming onto ice like this. That we couldn't blame the ice. There'd be no excuses to hide behind. But the ice this year at Braehead, I must say, has been remarkably consistent, and as the club curlers are delighted with it, and then when you hear the best lady players in the world coming along and saying this is as good as it gets, then you don't realise how spoiled we are here. Anyway, we've got the Jaggi rink have drawn round that front centre guard almost onto the pot lid. Silvana's got her guard at about 2 o'clock and is now trying to come round possibly and round that guard and freeze, but I think she's a bit light here. The sweeper's working hard on it, and all she's ended up in doing is putting another centre line guard on, so maybe a first error that we've seen in this game this morning. So Michelle coming out and saying, well, thank you very much, that's giving me more cover without last stone. I think I'll further complicate it by putting out another guard as we look at it 5 o'clock from the other end. Do you know, John, quite a few of the teams here, they put a number on the back of their very colourful outfits, and I've heard various stories that some of them it's their birthday of their day of the month of their birthday. It's not like football where everyone has to have a number, but I mean, Silvana Tirinzoni is
Having
good
42.
to having 42, and I'm sure that's no indication. Well, it's not 42 days in the month, but I'm sure Silvana is nowhere near that age. She was, a lady would not be advertising that kind of fact, would they?
Definitely
Oh,
not.
no. I think
No.
I can see a 98 down there. So maybe it's after American football stars or something. Their favorite tight end or quarterback, or who knows.
I've heard some very interesting theories, but I don't think any of it can be broadcast.
It's Tirinzoni rink taking off one of those short Jaggi guards. And Michelle Jaggi just walking back up and saying, okay, let's try and stop the attempt if Tirinzoni thinks about trying to use that short yellow stone and drive it on to remove the guards that are covering the red Jaggi stone, covering the button. So looking for another defensive shot here. Of course, every right to. The Jaggi doesn't have last stone, so she can set up a steal here. First psychological blow.
So we've got a third end score for you on the Sidrova Hasselberg. Sidrova taking a 2 to put the score to 3-1. Sidrova Hasselberg.
That's that going with last stone, John. So
Nothing, no two upsets.
no upsets. So now Silvana Tirinzoni having a good look at this short yellow guard that she's decided there are too many red stones starting to clutter up the front. Also probably stopping her making any attempted draw at this stage in the game, so time to drive that front yellow on to try and remove the two red stones and free up the route through to the pot lid. So a good running weight, contact on the yellow, perfectly played, and almost takes out the shot as well, so tremendous clearing shot there. And has opened up a slight route through, maybe see about a quarter now of or half of the lying red stone on the pot lid. So Michelle Jaggi saying, okay, we can, rather than guard it, can I come up here and freeze onto that? Maybe tap it back just a foot or lie in front of it. So Michelle sort of indicating something in that line, not too close that both stones could be removed. Now sort of shrugging her shoulders a bit, saying, well, I don't care if it's 2 feet short or 2.5 feet short, but either of those would be acceptable. So the sweeper's giving it a bit of work there just to make sure it's holding the line, coming in, all about weight. So, and she's played a perfect freeze, maybe just an inch between the two stones, which makes the likelihood if Silvana gets heavy contact on this that it's doubtful if she can get both stones out of there. So taking about a foot of ice, controlled weight, tap out certainly the nearer of the two lying shots. Sweeper's working quite hard, just keeping the line correct on this. Safely past her own guard, contact, and the nearer of the two counting Jaggi shots safely removed out the back of the house. gets a small roll to the side, and but the short yellow Tirinzoni stone still acting as a guard there for the centre line, so it's not fully covering it, but to be in the eyesight. So maybe Michelle again looking just for a tap back weight on that yellow stone and fall in behind, covering her own red lying shot in behind the guard. So again, controlled weight, maybe just tap back. Sweeper standing well off it, wanting to get this stone to cut across the yellow to get enough of a fall in. So safely removes the yellow stone, gives her own shot a nudge, but with both the thrown stone and the other red still counting, so advantage to Michelle Jaggi. But Sylvana still with the last stone advantage here, and looks to be indicating, well, maybe it's time we utilised our two guards. Let me try and draw into the red 4 foot, or even into the button. Change it round. So Sylvana's third player, Manuela Sigrist, tasked with making this draw shot. Sweeper's quite happy with it, sitting off now, just having seen it curl, bringing it in. Are they trying to maybe get a little rub off that red? No, it goes past the red, so slight misjudgment. Rolls to the back of the red 4 foot, and both skips having certainly Michelle Jaggi having a good look to see which is lying the shot, whether it's the yellow or the red, her own red stone. Now her sister Stephanie's having a look at it as well, so they're now discussing their options. What do you think, John? Who do you think's lying?
Jaggi looks quite laid back, so possibly red. They're looking like they want to come down and sit on top of that yellow. Just freeze.
Or maybe looking at utilising the cover, lie over beside the stone she thinks she's got shot with. Yeah, similar type of or sort of ice that Sylvana Tirinzoni was looking at, so looks like we're going to see a attempted draw shot to come into the left hand side of the red 4 foot circle, just in front of her own, we think, her own lying shot. She won't want to run on, of course, onto the Tirinzoni's Yellowstone. That would just give Sylvana something to come to, and unless they count out the width of the stones and they play piggyback back to the centre button. It's always a popular move in club curling, that when you see you've got a barrage of stones that can arrest the progress of your own overthrown stone. Right, so here we go. Michelle Jaggi's first stone of this fourth end. No score in this match yet. Attempted draw. Sweepers sitting well off it, just giving a bit of dusting, keeping everything out the road. Still stone entering the house now, and still no sweeping. Looks a bit heavy. She's maybe going to nudge the Tirinzoni stone back and roll back herself, so looks like she's now lying 2, but all stones behind the tee line.
Both teams there being a little bit surprised there wasn't quite as much curl on those two rocks.
Yeah, I think maybe just a wee bit heavy. We didn't see any sweeping at all in either of those two. So maybe the stones were just a wee bit overthrown. Of course, we're making that assumption. Maybe tactically they've got a master plan there somewhere. We are always learning watching these curling at this level. So Savannah Tirinzoni's first stone, Manuela Siegrist giving the ice in the head. And again, indicating that there's a big enough draw behind the guards, and with the two counting Jaggi shots behind the tee line, plenty to lie against or act as backstops. So Tirinzoni's first stone safely on its way. The sweepers again just keeping it clean. Stone starting to take its curl now. And is she looking to get a wick off the Jaggi shot? Pushes the Jaggi shot, rolls beautifully over to the top of the 4 foot. Not quite covered by her own yellow guard, but taking the initiative back. Michelle Jaggi now having a look and saying, well, how do I remove this without putting it onto any of the back stones? Or do I use my own stone coming off behind that? So the two sisters having a big discussion, Stephanie and Michelle. Maybe calling in a third opinion here. Michelle Greeby and Vera Campanovo being called into, or Michelle certainly coming down to add her tuppence worth.
Do you think you can see enough of that yellow at the top of the 4 foot to be able to come down to get the double with enough of an angle to take both away, but not hit any of their own?
Well, I think that's what they're considering, John. Certainly, looking at our television screen, it's coming towards us, so we can't get a direct line. But there certainly looks to be about half a stone showing of that front yellow at the front of the 4 foot, and if they could get the angle on perfectly, they could rub it up to that back yellow and take them both out, and Michelle would then be lying 4 red stones, but leaving Savannah with her last stone with her. A big problem. So they're looking to play a running stone. I think you're correct in what you're calling here. Not a heavy weight, looking about a foot of ice, so just looking to catch maybe 2/3 of that yellow shot on the right hand side as we are looking at it. Try and drive it against that back yellow, split them both, and by doing so she can roll over to the right and face onto another of her red stones there. So big shot here for Michelle Jaggi. Still one Tirinzoni stone to come, but this could cause them a major problem. Sweepers working hard on it, presumably for line.
Just past that front guard.
Front the guard, but has she got the angle right? Taps it back. Beautifully played. Makes small contact on that back yellow, and now I think lies 3 shots. Two of which are in the front of the tee line, so that has certainly given Savannah, but she's got these back stones, so she can either flop off that a red stone there into the 4 foot, or just run onto those 2 back stones. Either option would give her the shot. So it could have been more difficult, but she does have a couple of options here. So here we go, last stone of the fourth end, still no score in this all-Swiss encounter. Controlled weights, Sweeper's just nursing it down, looking as if they're trying to come in onto that back stone. Has she got the correct angle, or is it going to bounce? No, perfectly played. Nose contact, one shot to Tirinzoni, so at last the stalemate is broken. The scoreboard is leaping into action, and we've got 1-0 after 4 ends, halfway mark in this quarter-final. So the teams are high-fiving each other, obviously a bit happier about the way that end was played, that no great mistakes, but the Jaggi rink forcing Tirinzoni rink to take a single, which will give last stone advantage to the Jaggi rink for the first time in this match. Elsewhere, we're looking after 3 ends in the Sissi Otland of Sweden against Hannah Fleming's Scottish rink. Sissi has taken a single in the third end, so she now leads 4 shots to 1.
So if you want to get in touch today, we've got an email set up. We're live at corbrehead.co.uk. The email address is underneath the stream if you're watching on the Corbrehead's website. Please get in touch, ask us any questions. If you're friends or family of teams, you can give us a shout out. We had Rosaline Borden yesterday of the Kent and Sussex Junior Curling Club giving a shout out to the Fowler game broadcasting last night. That was more than welcome.
Yes, well, I think Hannah Fowler, she's a lovely character, her first time up here at Braehead, and they've demonstrated that they are an up-and-coming young team. I think they've enjoyed the experience, but a very popular competitor with the other teams here, and a lovely young lady, and I'm sure one that's going to go far in her curling career. So, meanwhile, back in the fifth end, we have the Tirinzoni centre line short guard up. Michelle Jaggi finally with the hammer, looking to draw round, not bothering with the corner guard here, so this looks to be a bit more of an attacking option. Maybe stone just a wee bit overthrown, going to it pulls up just nicely at the front of the forefoot, almost perfectly behind the yellow Tirinzoni guard, so quite an attacking ploy at the start of this end by the Jaggi rink, and Savannah Tirinzoni looking to try and freeze onto that red Jaggi stone and looking at that as a way of possibly removing it later on in the end. So the left-handed Marlena Albrecht for the Tirinzoni rink. Not many left-handers here this weekend, John, and
I thought you were about to say not many Swiss here this weekend. You're very wrong about that.
yeah, I think half of Switzerland's here. Certainly half of the top curling teams in Switzerland. But so nicely played shot. Just sufficient contact to raise the Jaggi. Didn't quite get the freeze, but raised the Jaggi shot a couple of feet now into the white 1 foot. But her own stone again protected by that short yellow guard. And Michelle Jaggi again indicating a draw. Let's have what we would call at club level a guddle. There's loads of stones in play. So going back to our earlier conversation, it's number 98. It's Vera Campanovo, I think. Maybe 98 would save the number of stitches required rather than putting Campanovo on the back of your jersey. But mind you, in Sylvana's team, we've got Esther Neuenschwander, which certainly is more than 10 letters. So Esther Neuenschwander, Sylvana's second player. Now Sylvana looking, saying, can I get around there? Yep, I think I can. The Jaggi team having put in a second guard, covering the left hand side of the route into the 1 foot and the 4 foot. So this Tirinzoni shot coming up. Short, putting up another guard, just making slight contact with their own yellow stone out there, so we're getting a build-up of stones at the front of the house. Two Tirinzoni sweepers there having a little dust at the side of the ice, as if they'd maybe spotted something, but so Michelle Jaggi having a good look at this. She is lying the shot, biting the 1 foot with 3 guards covering the route in, and one lone yellow Tirinzoni stone about 3 feet short of her own. So she's wondering, can I get in there and just adjust the position, or can I draw around those guards and maybe freeze onto my lying shot on the 1 foot? So her Michelle's sister Stephanie, sweepers nursing along, coming on, coming off, obviously quite happy. Looks to be enough room certainly to pass her own stone, waiting on taking a bit more curl, and looks to be a nicely played weight, coming just behind their own stone, but to lie second shot fully in the 4 foot behind their lying shot on the button. So a nicely played shot there. They avoided contact, which would have bounced them out more into a line that Sylvana Tirinzoni could have got at. So a nicely played stone there by Steph Jaggi.
Calling for a team conference here?
Yes. Sylvana saying, do we open this up? I'm not too happy. There are 2 Jaggi stones in there. They might be quite happy to give them 1 shot, but 2, no. I don't want to give them 2 at this stage. Maybe looking at do they try and draw in and freeze, give themselves an angle that later on in the end they can use their own stone to chip those Jaggi stones out, red Jaggi stones out, or do we open up the front and make it a bit easier that way? So meanwhile the Jaggi team are in front of us here having a hug and a laugh and saying, well, thank goodness it's not our problem. It's lovely to see, actually, the range of emotions that curling brings, that when it's their turn to play, or they're focusing on the shot, whether it's the skip, the person throwing the stone, or the sweepers, everyone knows exactly what they've got to do, but as soon as the job is done, it's the opposition's turn, and it's almost as if they can switch off but still be totally linked and linked into each other.
Team Jaggi here have got a lovely box of treats.
Oh yeah. Haven't offered any to us yet, John. We'll maybe have to give them a wee tap in the window. Yeah? So here we are, Sylvana Tirinzoni. They look to be taking ice on that short yellow stone and maybe trying to drive it in to change the shape of this head. It's getting too complicated for her liking, so stone with weight coming down, making contact on this front yellow, takes it out, but no contact at all on the other stones in the head. So 1 stone out to play, maybe not as good a result as they were hoping for, because Michelle Jaggi, no hesitation, just saying, well, you've taken 1 out, I'm going to try and put it back again, make it just as hard for you to get to my two lying shots. So Stone got a good weight. The sweeper's working on it just to try and get it exactly where they want it. Safely over the hog line and almost parallel with the front yellow Tirinzoni guards. So certainly blocking the route in on that side.
I don't know. I think there's maybe just enough of a gap to get something through there.
To get onto that yellow stone and the fully in the 8 foot, you think, John? Yeah.
Yep.
They're certainly having a look at it.
I think the angle would end up almost perfect to get the two reds away at the back
So
and
back.
back too.
Yeah. Of course, it's a shot that us club curlers would view with some trepidation, but these girls are perfectly capable of whistling through the smallest gap.
I remember being at St Andrews a long time ago, viewing the Open, and I wouldn't say it was Ernie Els, but I think whoever Ernie Els' contemporary at the time was put something into a bunker on the 17th, and on the way home that night there was about 40 people on the golf course trying to replicate the shot. He took about 7 attempts to get out of the bunker, but they were doing it in one, and I wish there was a way in curling to be able to get stones set up again just perfectly to give these sort of shots a go in your own time.
Yeah, indeed. It's of course curlers don't really practice much. The first shot they throw in a match but is the amount of their practice. It's like the pre-match routine of exercise that all these top teams go through. They're stretching. You were talking earlier about the difficulty of arriving at our commentary box with all the 12 teams that we have here this morning doing their warm-ups. But I think at club curling it's possibly making the way from the bar to the ice rink.
Talk about warm-ups. Michelle Jaggi there at the back doing a little bit of a dance for us.
Yes, she is. Yeah. It's a paddy ba or a Highland fling. I'm not too sure, but right. Well, it looks like Sylvana's called a tune, and she's looking to make a draw shot to hopefully come round and freeze onto that back yellow red Jaggi. Sorry, the red Jaggi rock at the back of the 1 foot, which would possibly give her the shot. So sweeper's working on it. It's got enough line to get past the guards. It's all about the weight now. Squeezes past the red guard. Is it going to make contact on the front? It's frozen on the front shot, but still probably lying 2 shots against there. So maybe slightly underthrown there. I think the sweeper certainly worked quite hard on that one. So Michelle Jaggi giving even wider ice, looking to cover that route in. Another short guard. Protect her 2 lying red stones. So Michelle Greeby, the 3rd player, and Michelle Jaggi's Byrne Rink, putting down that red stone, almost perfectly played, about 2 feet short of the house, and guarding the route that we just saw the last yellow Tirinzoni stone take. So this end is really building up against Sylvana Tirinzoni. She may be regretting trying to play the free shot last time rather than clearing up some of the the accumulated granite at the front of the house. Still, she's got 3 stones left, so Manuela Siegrist's second shot, and Sylvana looking at that red guard that's just been played. Can she use it to drive it onto her own yellow and force out one of the, or possibly 2 of the red lying Jaggi stones? So certainly I think that's what she's elected. She's put the brush down just on the left edge of that red Jaggi stone. Manuela Siegrist being asked to drive that red into the pack on the 4-foot. Sweepers staying off this one, staying off it still. It's maybe just not going to get quite the right angle. Oh dear.
Oops.
Not a full enough contact. Sends the red in and only takes out her own Yellowstone that was lying in the 4-foot. She's still got 1 in there, but she's still lying 2 shots against, so no real advantage there apart from removing the guard, which Michelle Jaggi will immediately just try and replace. So this end not really working out too well for the Tirinzoni rink yet. However, you never write them off. They've always got something up their sleeve. So the red Jaggi guard coming down again, just being nursed down by the sweepers, standing off, obviously quite happy with the pace of the stone. Waiting for it to curl. Looks as if it's going to bite the front of the 12-foots, and decided now bring it in right into the front of the 8-foot. So the stone's a wee bit nearer. Whether Sylvana might be tempted to try the same shot. She hasn't got as much distance to cover by driving that red onto her own yellow. She saw what happened.
Tirinzoni sporting some very nice brushes this weekend.
Oh, I hadn't noticed, John. Yeah,
They're always chromium plated. By the looks of things.
Yeah, won't be solid silver anyway.
No.
A bit heavy, maybe. No, they are very smart. And looks as if the brush heads are in Swiss national colours.
Yeah, looks absolutely fantastic. Even with looks like their logo as well on the other side of the brush head.
Oh right. A custom made job. Yeah,
look fantastic.
Yeah, lovely. So number 42, Sylvana Tirinzoni, attempting this raised rearranger. Sweeper's working hard on it. Has she got the right contact? Maybe just too flat, and I'm afraid so. Just got slightly inside the line she wanted, and only succeeded in removing that red without disturbing the 2 other red and the sole yellow stone that are lying in that 4-foot circle. So Sylvana now got a real problem about how not to lose 2 shots here. And now Michelle's looking at what can I do, either to remove a threat from that yellow stone.
Two Jaggi stones left and 1 Tirinzoni stone.
Yeah.
You're up to date.
So I think Michelle's been looking at the angle of that yellow stone at the very front of the 12-foot there, and seeing if her own red stone would interrupt the line of it if Sylvana tried to drive it onto her other yellow, or whether she should just guard the route in and force Sylvana to, I suppose what they call in American football a sort of Hail Mary shot. Yeah. So it looks as if we're giving wide ice, so a potential guard on driving that yellow Tirinzoni stone at the front of the 12-foot.
all games this weekend are 8 ends of the bell, and it's a 2 hour time limit. We're not running to individual time clocks for the teams, it's just a general 2 hours. Got 35 minutes left for this session. Quite comfortable, I would say, to the last ends in.
Well, you're very experienced in these matters, John, of course, having helped set it up, and most of the teams, we've seen one or two struggling to get the 8 ends in over the weekend. It should be achievable, but sometimes when you get ends like this building up, as you say, there are no timeouts. The teams will quite often confer amongst themselves, and that just adds 2 or 3 more minutes. They do get an allowance if we have a situation where they have to call upon an umpire to make a measure if there's a doubt about which stone is lying, and a small allowance of a couple of minutes will be made for that, so they aren't penalised if there's an outside agency at work. But you're quite right. It's timeouts are all very well at big championships, I think, but where we have an event like this where you have to work to a very tight time schedule within 3 days of curling, there has to be an element of control. We had a very long day on Friday, as we said earlier. We started at 7:30 in the morning and we finished at 10:30 at night to give each of the teams that are competing, the 22 teams here, to give them 3 games each. And if you start allowing for extra ends or timeouts, then we would have been here into the small hours of the morning. So, and the curlers wouldn't appreciate that either. It's a long enough day for them, never mind the officials. So 2 hours it is, and the curlers are quite happy about that. They know the rules, and they pay at the pace that will accommodate it. So, however, here we have we still have a Tirinzoni team discussion. There's still, the guard has been played by Michelle Jaggi, more or less blocking that the raise and the yellow at the front of the 12 foot. So they've given up in that side, and Manuela Segrist, the third player in the Tirinzoni rink, has moved over to the other side of the head, putting her brush down at the corner right on the 8 foot, the outside of the 8 foot. So Sylvana's going to attempt a draw here against 2 shots very, very tight to the button, with almost no margin for error. I don't know if she can actually get the shot here, John, but she might try and cut it down to 1. So Tirinzoni, last stone, 5th end. Sweepers working in the stone straight away. Of course, they have their stopwatches on, and as soon as the stone is released, they know the pace. Coming off it now, allowing the stone to curl just to get the line. They want to get it past the front stone. Now, has she got? No, I think she's underthrown.
Oh dear.
So we saw the sweepers working it early, and then they gave up. They must have known that even with their good sweeping techniques, it wasn't going to do the job for them. So Jaggi certainly lying 2 shots, and is there room for her to get round onto face her back red stone there for a possible 3? Certainly giving herself ice for a draw shot, and I don't think she can do any harm here. Michelle Jaggi, last shot of this 5th end, taking ice wide out on the left side, playing an in-turn draw. Plenty of room out there. Sweeper's obviously waiting. I think she's just maybe erred on the safe side, playing it wide. Yeah. So it looks like 2 shots there to Michelle Jaggi to take the lead. 2 shots to 1 after 5 ends. And update on the other games. A bit of an upset by the look of it on sheet 3, where we've got Binia Felcher's World and European champions who are playing Young Kim from a young Korean rink, South Korean rink. It was 2-1 to Binia after 3 ends. The Kim Korean rink took a 2 back to be up to 3 points, and then in the 5th end they've stolen 2 shots. So they are now enjoying a 5-3 lead over Binia Felchers World and European champions. So these young Koreans just carrying on where they've been all weekend, and really playing precise, accurate, and very difficult to counteract curling. And in the other quarter-final, Sissy Osland against Scotland's Hannah Fleming. Sissy Osland was enjoying a 4-1 lead, but in the 4th end, Hannah Fleming Scots have pulled back a 3, and in the 5th end have stolen 1. So a complete turnaround there from being 4-1 down. Hannah Fleming now enjoying a 5-4 lead going into the 6th end. So a tremendous fight back by the Fleming rink.
Hasselborg Ciderota game. No steals yet. Hasselborg taking a single in the 4th, and then Ciderota answering back with their own single in the 5th to leave things 4-2 going to 6th end here.
So cagey game, but Sidorova still retaining an element of control there.
So like I mentioned, we've got six games in total on, so we've got 2 more. We've got our consolation semi-finals on at the moment. Got Roth versus Zarkova. At the moment they've just finished up the 6th end. We don't have a score to share for that. But going into that 6th end, we're looking at Roth 4, Zarkova 3. And obviously we've got another consolation semi-final being played just now. Furbringer against Skazlian, I believe, and that's playing the 6th end just now, and it's 4 to Skazlian, 2 to Furbringer. It's after 5 ends.
Yes, these consolation event that runs here alongside the Champions, the Glynhill Championship, is for the teams that are placed 3rd in each of the 4 sections. Gives them something extra to play for, minor prize money, but it still all counts for ranking points in the Champions Curling Tour that these curlers are all part of in Europe, and which ultimately count towards World Curling Federation ranking points as well. So they do have something to play with. And as John mentioned, we've got Nina Roth from Wisconsin, USA, who are the current USA national champions. Over here, they've had an enjoyable fortnight. They competed at Bern in the Bernese Ladies Cup last weekend, and of course they're up against Olga Zarkova's experienced Russian rink. I don't think I'd be doing them a disservice by calling them the number 2 rink, Anna Sidorova being the Olympic and world representative for Russia, but Olga herself is a past Olympic and world representative, has experience at that level. So we've got a very exciting East versus West contest, America, USA against Russia taking place there, and it's nice to see the Americans over. We've had the occasional visitors, the Bond girls from California 2 or 3 years ago, John, which
They were very good fun.
they were great fun. Yeah, tremendous characters. So, and if you're listening, girls, we wish you all the best. We hope you're doing well, and come back over and see us sometime. And as John said, the other consolation semi is Fabian Furbringer from Switzerland, who was over playing in this tournament last year. It's good to see them back, the Furbringer rink. And they're playing against first-time visitors, Kristen Skazlian, a young Norwegian rink, who I wouldn't say have surprised us, but they've played very well, very consistently, and they played some good teams in their section. They had a tough qualifying section to get through to this stage. They had Vinia Felcher, Lauren Gray of Scotland, Sissy Osland, who went through our programme undefeated, and the Ursi Hegner, the other Swiss rink that was playing, and young Anna Fowler. So for first time appearance at the Glynhill, congratulations to Kristen, and good luck in this semi-final. However, here we are back in the sixth end of this all Swiss affair. And this time it's Silvana Tirinzoni who is last stone, so Michelle Jaggi has her front almost centre guard and followed it up with her red stone biting the button. Silvana electing to put down a corner guard, and I don't know what happened to that one, just the stone thrown too heavy. Maybe she was trying a small tap back but thrown too wide, or didn't curl as much, so doesn't touch the either of the two Jaggi stones, the one at 2 o'clock and the 8 foot, biting the 8 foot, maybe trying to get a rub off it and come over with that last stone, but the
looks like it was a draw there, and just thrown a little bit too heavy, and then not quite deciding what they wanted to do with the stone.
Yeah, trying to hold it onto the 2 o'clock stone and get a rub over, but achieving neither, or as you say, just probably thrown too heavy and through the gap, and no result. So Jaggi immediately calling on another guard just to cover that hole that we saw the Tirinzoni stone go through, and it's pretty well thrown. It's short of her front centre guard. So Silvana coming out to have a look. Time to remove the guard and hopefully drive it onto one of the shot stones and clear up some of this red wall that is building up at the front. So I think maybe the advantage slightly with the Jaggi rink here. They picked up a 2 at the last end, and they are starting to take control of this game. They are setting the problems for Silvana Tirinzoni. So here comes the yellow Tirinzoni stone driving on, catches the front guard on the centre line, but no effect on the lying stones, although they are now lying wide open. And immediately Michelle Jaggi pointing at the centre line at the front of the house, asking for that stone to be replaced, guarding the route into her shot lying on the 1 foot. So Michelle Greeby being asked to replace this stone. The sweeper's lying off. Stone curling in towards the centre line now, just all about where do we want it, and perfectly played stone, totally covering the direct line to her lying shot, and lying about 3 feet short of the circles. So Silvana wanting obviously to remove that stone and saying, well, can I drive it on to, can I make a treble here? 2 shots in the house and remove the guard. It's the kind of shot, John, club curling, that if it happened, you'd get an immediate smile and say, of course I meant that. So here we go. Good running stone, plenty of weight. And takes out the lying Jaggi red stone that was on the button. Rolls slightly to the side, so certainly a good result there for Silvana Tirinzoni's rink. Opens up the front. There's still 1 shot lying at about 8 o'clock for Michelle Jaggi, but it's open. So a good rescue there for the Tirinzoni rink. it's all gone quiet. So Jaggi rink without last stone in this 6 end. 6 out of 8. So maybe Michelle looking to play an out-turn draw here and get in behind that yellow Tirinzoni stone, acting as a guard on the left-hand side as we are looking at it. So is it going to squeeze past that guard? It gets past the guard nicely with 4 inches to spare. Looks to be a pretty good weight. The girl sweeping it in right just into biting the red forefoot, so, and almost directly behind that yellow guard, but I'm sure the Tirinzoni rink can see enough of that. Just a running stone, play the tap back, and maybe got a fall over to the other side to be use the 2 stones at 5 o'clock there. Maybe use them to act as protection for her thrown stone, which would take the initiative back onto her side. So maybe about a foot of ice, so controlled weight. Manuela Siegrist giving the ice in the head. There's a wee bit of sign language going on before they make the final decision. No, there's a change of mind. Look to be drawing to the other side, John? Or are they utilising their own yellow stone? I think probably drive their own yellow.
Yep, looks like it. Happy to get either right there, I think.
Drive their own yellow. If they get it right, they lie the shot. If they don't, they open up the route. So this here we come, girls. Yeah, certainly. So certainly opens it up and takes away one of the red Jaggi counting stones, and their thrown stone is it biting just on the edge of the 12 foot, but possibly not. Certainly the Jaggi rink having a look at it. Say, well, we don't want to give Silvana a 2, so can we use that stone, take it out of play, and maybe roll somewhere across the house that we lie to? So certainly Michelle speaking to her sister Stephanie, saying, yep, give me ice on the side of that. Double purpose, remove the stone, and we'll maybe get a second stone counting, second red stone counting. Leave the problem with
giving ice right on top of the nose of that stone.
Yep, so I think we can expect to see a fair bit of weight here. Yeah, it's just that favoured little push, just to give it that little extra bit of momentum. Michelle sliding right up behind the stone, checking the line. The girls are quite happy with it. Removes the yellow counter, rolls beautifully over, and nudges, lying side by side with her existing red shot on the forefoot. So Silvana's got to be a wee bit careful here. If she hits the left hand of the stone nearer the centre line on the nose, I'm not sure she gets the shot. So she really wants to remove both of these red stones to be sure of her taking the shot rather than Michelle taking a steal. So last stone, 6 end, Silvana Tirinzoni facing 2 Jaggi red counters and looking to remove both of them. And I suspect if she does, that she'll maybe lie herself. So again, controlled weight, not strike weight. The girl's sweeping hard on this. Is she going to get perfect contact? Certainly gets both stones moving, but unfortunately not enough contact with one of the red Jaggi stones, so a steal there for Michelle Jaggi. Do you think the weight was underthrown there, John? Would you have gone heavier?
Yeah, quite possibly. I think the sweepers were trying very hard there, but even despite their battle, it just drew a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm. So Michelle Jaggi setting up the steal there, leading the slow-scoring game, but 3-1 after 6 ends, 2 ends to go.
Well, possibly 2 ends to go. We've
Possibly.
only got about 14 minutes left, so it's going to have to be a rapid end, I think.
Well, which would, of course, you just don't know how it's going to evolve, but Jaggi's 2 shots ahead, so she might not be in any rush unless something untoward happens in this end, in which case they will be rushing. No other scores to really update you yet. We'll bring those to you as soon as they go up on the board. So meanwhile, in the 7th end, the Jaggi lead stone is fully into the 4 foot, fully into the 8 foot, almost on the centre line. So Savannah Tirinzoni immediately calling for a corner guard. Out on the left hand side as we sit from the hack end, from the bar end of the ice rink, for those of you that know Braehead. So perfect corner guard set up, and Michelle having her stone in the 8 foot, indicating guard maybe just a couple of feet short, covering that red Jaggi stone. So in-turn guard being asked Vera Campanovo. Sweeper's just nursing it down into the requested position. Slightly overcurled, maybe 3 or 4 inches too many, just showing a bit of the shots, the red stone in the 8 foot, and Savannah saying, okay, let's try and come up and freeze, get a yellow stone frozen in that, and give me something to play with, something that will help me nudge that red stone out later in the game. So the left-handed Marlene Albrecht throwing foot for her will be an outturn, and I see wearing the lucky 13 on her back, so maybe it is a different inference in Switzerland. So Marlena Stone just coming up a wee bit short there, just catching on the Jaggi guard and acting as a further block, so Michelle Jaggi quite happy to add to the confusion at the front of the house, indicating possibly another guard just short of the head, covering the left hand side of the route into the 4 foot of the head. Sweeper's looked as a reasonable line for where she wants it, maybe half checking this yellow stone. Well, lying about a foot and a half short, so the temptation there to drive red onto yellow, and certainly the ice Sylvana's giving looks as if they intend to use these stones at a controlled weight. that sound that we heard in the commentary box. We thought it was the roaring of the stone, but I think it was the espresso coffee machine giving us a bit of excitement. So yellow onto red onto yellow, touches red, but contact correct, but the strength of the contact, all they've done is nudge that red Jaggi stone fully into the red 4-foot and left a clutter of 3 stones guarding it. But there's possible room to draw in on the in turn and try and freeze onto that red stone. Or if the stone is short, then Michelle Jaggi will protect her lying shot there. Coming out and kneeling at the front of the house just to get a better view of both the line and the weight, holding her sweepers off. Stone beginning to curl, certainly going to reach the front of the house, bringing it right in now, and almost just short of a freeze in her own stone, but Michelle Jaggi looking as if she's lying too. It's hanging out a wee bit, so it'll be tempting enough to Silvana Tirinzoni to make contact on the recently thrown red Jaggi stone and maybe disturb the other red Jaggi stone that's lying fully in the 4-foot. So here we go. Sweeper's working on it, coming off it now, so they must be past the guard. It's just all about the contact. Is it hanging too wide? Yep.
Oh dear.
That was nothing achieved there. It's I mean, the sweepers were called on early and then they came off, so whether it was just a natural reaction at the start of the stone's journey and then halfway down you realise, hang on. So Michelle Jaggi again giving wide enough ice to possibly protect the route into those 2 stones. She won't need a third stone in the house, so I think we'll see a short stone here just guarding that route. And the guard stone safely delivered, almost bisecting the route in between the 2 yellow stones. And Silvana saying we've got to clear up some of this stuff. I want all of those stones out of here. So putting her brush down on the recently thrown red Jaggi stone and saying, right, let's see some daylight. Meanwhile, over on sheet 2 in the quarter-final between Susie Osland's Swedes and Hannah Fleming's Scottish rink, Susie has picked up a single in the 6th end, so that game is now peeled at 5 ends each. 5 stones each. So that one's going to go down to the wire. And in the Korean Swiss game, In Young Kim has picked up a single in the 7th to go 6 shots to 3 up on Binny Felcher of Switzerland, the reigning world and European champions. So it looks as if the Koreans have got control of that game and will be advancing. And meanwhile, in the last quarter-final between Anna Sidorova and Anna Hasselberg, there's been a big change round there, that Anna has picked up a 3 in the 6th end to take a 5-4 lead. So Anna Sidorova, having looked comfortably in control at 4-2, now finds herself a shot behind going into the 7th end with how long left in the clock, John? You got a view on it?
6 minutes.
Yeah. Ah, right. So we are in the last end. So Sidorova got last stone, 1 shot behind. Interesting. Jaggi lying comfortably, 2 shots at the moment. And 2 shots ahead. Tirinzoni, oh dear, it's just not working. Catches a guard, spins over and knocks another red Jaggi stone, well, into the 8 foot, but opens up the left hand side of the two lying red stones. So to an extent maybe something achieved, but Michelle can decide whether to play a guard there, or there's a possible option, of course, for Tirinzoni to use the red stone in fully in the 8 foot lying on the tee line. She could get a hit and roll in off it. But she must be looking at picking up at least 2 here. 6 minutes left. The longer they take to discuss this, of course, the less likelihood is they might get another end in. So Michelle Greeby got down to add her tuppence worth. The two sisters and Michelle having a look. I think they are worried about the hit and roll in off that red stone, and maybe debating whether to try and raise their own stone, or do we guard the route in and ask Sylvana to play the hit and roll over. I think they're looking at guarding those red stones, because if they leave them vulnerable, if they both go, the other yellow stone could offer Sylvana a possibility of a 2. So they want to retain those 2 red stones, I think. It looks as if they'll... sorry about that crackle. They look as if they're going to put the guard in down here.
We of course can't have a draw in this game. We must have a winner.
Yes, at this
So
stage.
if we do get to Peels, we are going to the next round.
Is that the rules, John? Extra end? We don't ask them to do draw shots and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I certainly hope it's an extra end. It's much more fun for us.
Well, it is, yeah. So here comes the Jaggi stone. Looks to be Swoofer's working on it. They want to protect this line down. It's curling over. And they don't get the rub off the guards, so it's maybe just a third of that red Jaggi stone that's fully in the 8 foot is visible. Will that be tempting, or Sylvana? No, she's going to use the stone in the other house, on the other side of the house, play an out turn draw down and just try and tap that yellow that's fully in the white 8 foot at about 4 o'clock. Just try and tap that in behind the 2 Jaggi stones. So Sylvana's stone on its way. Sweeper's working hard on it. They got a good line. I think they're past the guard, are they? No, they just got a tickle on the guard, just underthrown again, and just things not working out in this end for the Tirinzoni rink. They've had a couple of mistakes. The one that neither got the hit and roll, it went through the gap, and there again on that tap up draw shot, either just too tight or the ice was just not enough for what Sylvana was hoping for. So nothing achieved. She's still lying 2 shots against her. So Stephanie giving Michelle ice out there just to stop the route in onto the 2 lying red stones in the white 8 foot. Which would force Sylvana maybe to take her 1 by trying that raised tap up again on the yellow that she tried last time, but So it looks to be a very wide stone here, John. Is she playing the guard on the hit and roll, do you think? Or is she bringing another one in?
Goodness me, no. Really put the pressure on what it thinks.
So, Silvana and Manuela are sort of saying, well, can we make a quadruple takeout here? Or they're certainly looking at that side of the head. So we've got a quorum of 4 Swiss ladies down there looking at all the various options. They've got a fairly big problem here. They're 2 shots behind, and at the moment there are a lot of red Jaggi counters in there. So to have any hope of rescuing this game, they're running out of time and they're running out of options.
They are out of time.
They are out of time, that's it.
So out of time.
So how does she's got to make a quadruple takeout to lie 2, maybe 3 to have any chance of beating Michelle Jaggi. So I think we can expect to see a fairly heavy stone here. She's got 4 red stones to move. The last shot of this quarter final. What was I saying about Hail Mary? So here we go, Silvana Tirinzoni. Big weight, sweepers lying off. Gosh, I think, is she going to get a thin edge or is she going to go right through the gap? Very thin edge on one of the shots, missed out on the 3, so a win there for Michelle Jaggi, winning that quarter-final tie against her fellow Swiss rink of Silvana Tirinzoni. So over on rink 7, where it's 5-4 to Anna Hasselberg against Anna Sidorova. And Anna Sidorova playing her tap shot onto the red Russian stone. I think to pick up a 2 and pip Anna Hasselberg. But we'll have to wait for confirmation of that, but it looked like a beautifully controlled tap back shot on the single red Hasselberg stone. Past a guard to the tap back, and with her other counting shot at the front, counted 2 yellows for Anna Sidorova's Russians to give them a 6-5 victory over Anna Hasselberg's Swedes. So a very tight game there. Meanwhile, it looks as if Kristen Skaslian's Norwegians in the consolation semi-final has beaten Fabienne Furbringer Swiss rink. 6-2 is the score showing on the board. Binia Felcher is 6-3 down against the young Korean rink of Young Kim, and playing her stone, trying to chip, and plays a perfect shot to pick up 3 shots, I think, which would give us appeal. So Binia Felcher playing a very delicate, she